Alright, this is going to be a demonstration for how to do the art showcase cards, how to get started with it. So, very first thing I want you guys to do is, you're going to open up Photoshop, and we're just going to create a new document. So, file new, and there's going to be a specific dimension I want you guys to work with. So, it's going to be 7 by 5 inches that we're going to work with. Okay, so the width's going to be 7, 5 is going to be the height, and make sure it's in inches. And basically, you're going to create a hot dog format with this. So you're just going to click create to create a new document. So something's going to look a little differently in this Photoshop as opposed to what you guys are working on in the computer today. I do have the new Adobe 2020 version. So at some point, though, all the computers will have this new version. I just haven't gotten a chance to fully install them on the computers yet. So something's going to be a little bit differently, though, in this program. So just something to bear and keep in mind of. So I do want you guys to go back to your sketches, your drawings that you guys did, your design. So you're just going to basically choose your best design out of the four. And I want you to just mainly just focus on creating the shapes today for the for your design that you're going to work on today. So obviously this is the only one I have to work with. This is the only drawing that I did. I'm just going to be basically just creating shapes. So go on your toolbar. If you click on the three circles, you'll have a couple of different tool shapes to work with. So rectangle tool, rounded, rectangle, ellipse, polygon, and I wouldn't really touch any of these ones. So it's not really a lot of different shapes you can use though, but I'm gonna make another video though that's gonna show you different ways of creating different shapes. In this video though, this is like generally how you want to work on your design, at least like the workflow of what you're going to be doing. So I'm just going to hold shifts and we're going to just make a rectangle. So just make a rectangle here, and I know with the shape tool though, you can actually change and manipulate the colors of the shape. So you can change the color of the fill. I'm just gonna change it to this red here, and again, it's gonna look a little differently in your program. You may be able to like pull the color swatch, and I'm just gonna use Command T as in turtle to rotate it to the side, and then just put it in the corner. So I'm gonna change it up a little bit though. There was a little edge up in the corner. This is actually something you don't want to do. It's like a tangent, leaving a white space in the corner. So I'm just actually just gonna resize it and just fill up that whole corner. Oops. Somehow my shape disappeared. So let me just make that again. Yeah, one thing they changed about Photoshop too is you can actually keep doing Command Z to undo. That's the hotkey. Before it used to be like you can undo one time and then it would redo it again if you do Command Z. But if you keep pressing Command Z though, it's gonna just keep undoing it. So I'm just gonna hit this check to kind of like fill in that space. Make it a little bit bigger. Okay. So if you need to, you can always change and adjust these shapes again. So now I have my first rectangle here. I'm just going to title this image 1, just so I know what it is. So that's image 1. So now these shapes that I'm using though, these are kind of like the same shapes. So I'm using the same square over and over again. So I can actually just right click on here, on the name. Don't right click on this one here. Right click on this side, and we're just going to duplicate this layer. So I'm just going to change this to 2, just so I know what another image I'm working with. So now we have image 2 to work with, and you can move this around to rotate, move around. My suggestion though is, since you're using multiple different shapes, I would just change the color. So you can actually double click um, on the window here. So this is the picture window, and you can change the color of the shape. Okay, my suggestion is, do change the colors though, because you're gonna work with a lot of different shapes, and you do want to see like where each of those individual shapes would go. So I'm just gonna copy what I have in this picture here. I'm gonna do Command T as in turtle. I'm gonna resize the image. So something new in 2020 that they changed. You can't really hold the shift key and have the same ratio orientation. So just make sure to click on this chain here to undo that, and then you should be able to resize it the proper way. So if you need like perfect squares, that's the way you would fix it on this program. But I'm going to rotate it a little bit. I'm going to put it over here. And I'm going to try to like have it the same as my drawing though, but obviously things will change as you guys work on your design. Alright, so move it up a little bit higher here. Same thing I'm going to do again, just duplicate, change this to 3. And I'm going to change the color again, so maybe I'll just use like a yellow. Okay, so you can just move it here. I'm going to resize it. Rotate it a little bit, resize. You kind of get the idea though. We just keep going with this motion here though until we get that desired look or design that we were working on before. Rechange the colors, move over to the side, Command T as in turtle, resize it, rotate it a little bit. So I had like 1, 2, I'm gonna do one more. Duplicate 5, return. We do one more over here. Okay, you get the idea though. And some of these colors might be same though. I just want to make sure that when you're overlapping them though, you can see what you did. Yeah, obviously, I would take my time, just move and adjust these shapes the way that I want it. But, I'm not going to go super into that, though. Alright, now, if you look carefully, though, like these shapes, one thing that we've kind of talked about a little bit, though, but it's kind of important for this project is, things that are on the lower layer, is going to go behind all of the things that are on the top layers. Okay, so just be mindful of like where your shapes are. If I wanted to move this behind this green shape, I'd have to move this all the way down here to move it behind. If I want to move it to the front, then I would move it on the top. So things that are on top though, they're going to be in the front of the picture. And then things that are in the back, they're going to be in the bottom of the picture. So when you say like layers, it's kind of like layers of paper that you're working on when you guys are working on your design. Now, for some reason you can't really like pick out a shape though. You may have to like click on this auto select, once in a while. So for example, if I were to duplicate this shape, we could title it 6 just so we know what it is. And let me change the color on this. Do it blue. And I'm gonna just make it a little bit bigger, but I'm actually gonna put it behind like these shapes here. So just kind of move it behind the bottom here. So you remember I had some like overlapping shapes on the back here too. So in order to like overlap those shapes, I just like put them on the corners over here. Now for some reason though, like if I have this completely behind it, and I can't really select that shape. Alright, you're gonna have to click on this auto select, and then you would click on the layer that you're gonna work with, and you can use this to move the shape. But in most cases though, especially like with these designs that we're working with, since you're gonna be able to click like each of those layers pretty easily, you can click on the auto select, and basically this just allows you to click on the shape and it'll just move that shape around. So something to keep in mind of. And again, just want to make sure to duplicate all those shapes that you're doing. Obviously I'm not going to do all the shapes just because you basically get the idea though. We're just creating the shapes for the overall design. We can do this light blue. Alright. So I'm just kind of copying this design though. I'm not going to do like all 15 of my shapes though, but just make sure to do your 15 shapes. But let me just show you guys how like these shapes will affect the look of it. Okay, so let's just go back to image 1 here. And now we're going to this is going to be kind of like what we're going to do like at the very end after you've kind of like added those shapes. You're going to actually after you do like the whole design. So the reason why you guys do these shapes though is basically we can really place these shapes with images using the clipping mask. Okay, so if you guys remember clipping mask, allows you to kind of like pick our areas to color in. In this case, though, it's going to allow us to use these shapes to put our images in. So, you guys will be given the art show images. So a lot of these images are like from the older art shows. But one important practice you want to do, especially as graphic designers, is be able to have the option to change out or add different pictures to your uh, uh, your image library. So image one. Well, I'm just gonna go like just talk about the technical parts. But image one though, basically you can click and drag the image here. So we got this as image one, and then if we right click on the name and we do a clipping mask, okay, it basically creates a clipping mask on that red shape. So now if I were to move the image around, oops. Okay, if I were to move the image around. And just be really careful though, because you can actually move all the shapes. So, you can use that to move the image in that shape. So you can resize that image and basically fit it into that shape. All right, but that's kind of the purpose on like why we're doing these shapes. That way we don't have to like cut out the images. It's kind of like already set up with the shapes that we're using. So if I were to use image 2, I can add this picture here. Resize it, right click on the image, create a clipping mask. And you don't have to do this today though. This is like something we can do later. I just want you guys to just focus on just the design part and adding the pictures. All right.